All right, everyone, welcome back into another NFL DFS video. Going to be touching on the top showdown plays for this matchup between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens. Now, as always, I like to do a game preview. Look at this game. It is going to be a 3.5 point spread and a 46 for the over and under. So a very high scoring game is what it's projected to be. We do have a lot of significant injury news. So obviously they're going to be without T. Higgins, but they're also going to be without their receiver 4 and their receiver number 5. That's going to mean Trenton Irwin and Tyler Boyd are going to get a lot of work as well. Like we saw in the last game for them, where Trenton Irwin ended up getting 80% of the snaps, which is what happened the last time T. Higgins was out. But then with the rookie out as well, you know, we might actually just see someone like maybe Tanner Hudson get a little bit more work. Maybe even Irv Smith gets a little bit more work, you know, those better pass catching tight ends. But all in all, I think we're just going to see a heavy concentration of snaps for those receivers. Looking at Baltimore, the biggest takeaway is not really injury situations. It's kind of news. John Harbaugh came out and said that Keenan Mitchell is expected to get a little bit more work. My question is, who is he going to get work for? I know he's looked good. He was a rookie that was hyping up a little bit, you know, earlier on in the preseason for sure. But it's not like Justice Hill has looked bad. It's not like Gus Edwards has looked bad. He is just a kind of slightly different player. The issue that I have is that if this game is going to be a shootout, but also a close game, I think we're just going to see Justice Hill a little bit more in the passing game, and then Gus Edwards maybe trying to grind out the clock. I get why it's been hard to get him snaps. Obviously, you got to try to get him some more snaps, probably try to get him some more design plays. To me, he might be the ultimate George Kittle play. And anyone that's been following this channel really this year knows what I mean by that. Is that George Kittle is typically a player that is so hit or miss that really on a showdown slate, it's tough to trust him in the flex spot. Like there's no real point of playing him in the flex because if it's a game in which Kittle's not going to be asked to block, it's going to be a game in which he's going off in. And I would almost say that's kind of like Keenan Mitchell. Like the only way you'd want to play him is in the captain spot where you're pretty much saying he's going to break a big touchdown. And all in all, I feel like obviously you can't really bank on that. It's kind of like a little bit of Devon Achane where yes, has he looked good for sure? Has the production been slightly fluky given the plays that were there? Yes, like everyone knows that stuff's going to come down. It's just with Keenan Mitchell, how much is it going to come down? And the Bengals have been a pretty good defense thus far this season. But looking at kind of the priority list for the Ravens, I do think it's Lamar Jackson. Yes, it is going to be a more difficult matchup, and he has struggled the last few games. That is definitely a concern. If you guys find yourself wanting to fade him, I kind of get that. My biggest concern was the fact that against Arizona and Seattle, 2 easier matchups, he struggled. And I say that because Seattle, he didn't. Okay. Cleveland, he didn't really struggle either. Now, he hasn't looked as elite as he did at the start of the season. Don't get me wrong. Like, he looked elite. So, yeah, if you don't want to play him, it does make sense to me. I do think you want to be trying to get to Mark Andrews, though. All in all, though, it does feel like, you know, Mark Andrews and also Lamar Jackson, they kind of coexist together. Like, if Lamar Jackson's struggling, it's probably because Mark Andrews is not having a big game. So, if you are fading Lamar Jackson, then Mark Andrews becomes more or less of an appealing play. If you are fading Mark Andrews, I don't think you can play Lamar Jackson, to be honest with you. So there is that part of it. Zay Flowers is someone that the Baltimore Ravens have made it clear that they like him as a talent. Every single game, they are trying to get the ball to him in short yardage ways, kind of design ways. And what I mean by that is like quick throws, screen passes, or just quick slants. Like they are trying to get the ball to him. They're trying to manufacture touches to him. So he is someone that should have a safe floor. But all in all, I feel like those 3 players and even Gus Edwards are all probably a little bit too highly priced. Like, to me, that's a concern. Odell Beckham, you know, I don't think we can trust him. He's just not playing that many snaps. We have actually seen Rashad Bateman get more and more snaps as the season has progressed. And then Nelson Aguilar, who has honestly been their second best receiver this season, he might be someone that we are interested in. And so where we are seeing like OBJ's pricing, I don't want to touch him. Sure, he was involved against Seattle. He wasn't needed, I guess, too much. And like last week, one big play, like we can't really bank on that. It was kind of a fluky play. Bateman just isn't that good. I do think the pricing on Justice Hill is extremely strange. He is someone that probably should get some work in the passing game. All in all, like you can't really bank on the production for the running backs. But to me, considering his price, he's probably the one I want to be on the most for the Ravens. Just like that is too cheap of a price tag for a guy that's playing that many snaps. But again, like Nelson Aguilar is probably my favorite Ravens play. But like if this was a month ago, I would have liked it even more than I do this week. All these Ravens plays seem to be a little bit too risky, either considering their role or considering their pricing or both. So to me, I kind of want to start my builds out with the Bengals players, and then whoever I end up on, I kind of end up on. So looking at the Cincinnati Bengals, let's just take a peek at the pricing. So Tyler Boyd, to me, was kind of the first price tag that stood out to me. He almost had a touchdown, you know, dropped that game-winning touchdown all in all, had an awesome game, right? 12 targets, 8 catches, 100 receiving yards, great stuff there. And he's been a consistent fantasy producer so far this season, okay? And especially with T. Higgins being out or hindered, he has really been dominant. The one like dud that he had was the game in which T. Higgins was back and playing his full allotment of snaps. So all in all, I think we can bank on Tyler Boyd having a good game. The question is, do you want to play him in the captain spot, or is that a little bit too risky? And then I also think we are going with Trenton Irwin. Now, he only had 4 targets last week. One of them was a touchdown. He only had 2 receptions as well. One of them was a long touchdown. The last time we saw T. Higgins out, he actually had 10 targets in that game. And the only issue that I have is, like, I think he's a great play. I think we're ending up on him. The only issue that I have with him is that we have seen the tight ends all be more involved, or Smith has been more involved lately. Now, only 1 target last week, but prior to that, 4 and 4. So that's a concern. You got Tanner Hudson. Anyone that's played preseason NFL DFS knows that Tanner Hudson can get it done in the passing game. And to me, at his price tag, especially with them having a lack of depth at receiver, maybe we're looking at him. And then Drew Sample as well. He's been someone that has been a little bit more involved. He is at a very good price tag. Like, all 3 of those tight ends should get a lot of work, or enough work, I should say. And so definitely something to monitor there. Oh, fun stuff. Kendrick Pryor's back there. Cool. I didn't notice that. We got to monitor who's going to get pulled up from the practice squad for them. Maybe if we get news that they're actually going to play, we can think about it, but I doubt. I feel like Boyd, Irwin are the players we're going out of our way to play. And then honestly, probably Jamar Chase is kind of just an easy click if you can get to him. And then we got to decide what to do with Mixon and Joe Burrow. So Mixon, I always struggle with, guys, because he is like, I don't know how to describe it, but he's like the highest level of average quarterback or average running back that you can be, where, and I don't think that's a fair take. Let's just say he's the lowest level of really good running back you can be. Like, he's slightly above average. There's things that he does when you're watching film that you're like, all right, a normal NFL running back is not making that play. You know, a guy that's just another guy in the NFL is not making that play. But most of the time, he's just getting what's there for him. Most of the time, if the blocks are there for him, he's going to make that play. He's not someone that is typically creating his own space, making defenders miss. So I don't know. Like, yes, in a game that's going to be high scoring, obviously we want some exposure to him. Does feel a little bit touchdown dependent. Has gotten 3 straight touchdowns. And honestly, like, the fact that he has gotten 3 straight touchdowns in 3 straight games, that kind of concerns me. Like, we know that touchdowns are a little bit fluky, and he's only has 4 on the season. 3 of them have come recently. So that is a slight concern, but also it's worth noting that the Bengals offense has been much better the last 3 weeks. So definitely noteworthy. And then Joe Burrow, like Baltimore, I've kind of mentioned, like, they have been really good defensively this whole season, especially against opposing quarterbacks. And last week that was also true. But like they really, in a weird way, they haven't played that many good quarterbacks, especially like at the timing of it as well. It's super weird. And even last week with Deshaun Watson dealing with his shoulder stuff, like, it is just a weird thing that's going on. Like, Joe Burrow at this point of the season, given how well he's played the last 2 weeks, is definitely going to be the best quarterback that they played. And I could see him putting up 20 points in this game. So, like, I do want to prioritize getting to Joe Burrow. And that's the issue. Like, all the value that we have in this slate is via the Bengals. And so for me, it almost seems like we could be soloing Lamar Jackson, and something like this I would probably be personally fine with. Now, maybe you don't have to go with Tanner Hudson. Maybe you could pay up for a slightly better Baltimore Ravens play, whether that be Justice Hill. Like, I am fine with a lineup approach like that. That is probably how my approach is going to go, though, for this Thursday night showdown. To me, kind of the lineup process is more simple on this slate. Now, a lot of you guys are probably going to wonder, well, do we play in the defense? Do we play in the kickers? Maybe the kickers. You could slightly put in the kickers here and there. Obviously, just prioritize one if you're doing that in your build. Although it's kind of a fun slate. I'm excited for the build process for this slate. Now, that's going to be all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit the like button as well as the subscribe button. Don't miss out on any of the content, so hit that notification bell as well. That's going to be all for this video. If you guys want access to any props tools or fantasy golf tools, head over to 95sports.com. Those are available for just $10 a month. All right, thanks for watching. Let's have a good slate. And as always, let's keep cashing.